Good evening, everyone. We are here at Old Oxford Plain Speedway in Oxford, Maine, where we have the Oxford Twin 50s tonight. So we are doing heat style races with a 50 laps with a inverted field after those 50 laps, and we're going to do it all over again. So it's effectively a double points night. So we'll see what we can get. Glad you could be here at True Sim Productions. Appreciate you spending your time here and hope you enjoy your stay. So, first and foremost, we're gonna have from last week. We have Brian Zimmerman who took the win. He's going to be starting from the back in the first race tonight. He's going to work his way from the back. This is a Seal Groove racetrack, so it'll be hard to pass. We'll see what he can do. But we'll see if he can make his way to the front and get some points. Or see if he'll play the invert game and then try to get points at the back end. We'll see what he can do there. We have Zach Murphy, who's our current points leader. He's going to try to maintain or extend his points lead. He's currently 31 points, if I do recall. And then you've got third, which you've got Larry Bell, who's 31 points behind Brian Zimmerman. But close behind him is going to be Scott Bryant, who's 1 point behind and trying to fight his way to get his third position in the championship standings. So lots of points up for grabs. We'll see what we can do here. After the race, we're going to have maybe potentially a little bit of an air competition. We'll see what we can get. So what we have for today is that we are going to have, it's going to be air temp of 84 degrees, and we're going to have the track temp currently sitting at 131 degrees, so it is hot and it is slick. Winds are going to be basically out of the northeast. We're at 5 miles an hour, so a little bit of push from that direction. So we're going to see what we can get, and hopefully the cars won't get too pushy and loosey-goosey at the end. Hopefully, with the amount of tire wear that we're not going to get pretty much negligible tire wear. So don't expect much. It's just going to be sprints to the finish. So we may or may not see some people trying to pass on the outside. So we've got 45 seconds left of practice. We won't really be able to interview anybody before they get started. So we're just going to kind of wing it and go right into quali here in a minute. Currently sitting on top of the board is going to be Larry Bell with a 14.89. Everything with that, we've got Bryant with a 14.9 and Zimmy with a 15 flat, and then essentially they're all each other for the top 7. So we're gonna see what these drivers have for us, see if these guys can put out a good show, even though it's going to be a small field tonight. That may end up being to our advantage. Having a big field at such a small track is going to be kind of useful, because having that small field with just literally a circle. So we're literally going 3/4 of a mile. So we're essentially turning left the entire time. So as we're going to now transition into qualifying, we'll wait on these drivers and see what they get. Looks like we've got some takers. Potentially, we may have some takers. We have the first out. It's going to be Scott Bryant. He's going to be our first taker out on the field. As he starts his out lap, he's going to go ahead and take the green flag. Looks like he's going to be a little loose. Take it on the inside lane. He's going to try to go straight forward, and then he's going to come back again. It looks like he's going to try and drift it just a little bit, grab himself, take it all the way down to that curb, bring it all the way back out, and he's going to continue going forward. So that first lap's going to be a 15.12, and he's going to see if he improves on his second lap. Does he improve is going to be the big question. Oh, he gets loose on the exit. He's not going to make it. He's going to maintain his 15.12. We have Caleb B. Thompson, who's going to drop with a 15.13 with his first lap. We also have Zach Murphy as well, taking his first lap. He should be coming out here shortly with top of the board with a 15:08. Zach, and now we're going to continue on. We've got Larry Bell making his first lap as well as Brandon Mettler. Let's see if Zach Murphy can improve on his time, and he does not. Larry Bell puts up a 15.12 with Brandon Mettler putting on a 15.20 as well, as they're going to finish up their laps here. Larry Bell is going to come around to turn 4, and he's going to come to the flag man with a... does not improve his time. He ran a 15.34, so it does not improve his time. Neither does Brandon Mettler at a 15.20. We're waiting. We're going to wait and see if Mr. Anthony Rennick will qualify. Mr. Zimmerman is not qualifying due to the fact that he is not actively having to start. He has to start in the back. So, like I mentioned before, this track is a single groove racetrack. It is notoriously single groove. It is going to be a lower groove track. We may or may not see any bumping and running to get movement to happen. Usually, if you have some longer runs, if you can manage like 75, 100 lap runs, you can maybe save some tire and then try to push away on the outside. That's usually what happens when you're running super late models here. But with 50 lap heats, it's going to be quick. So just as a reminder, it should be 50 lap heats with a field invert. And from there, we'll finish our little bit and we will continue forward. So it looks like Anthony Rennick is on track. He's going to be finishing up loose on exit, unfortunately, and he's going to maintain his time with he actually increases the time with a 15.18. So that will complete qualifying for tonight. So what we have is Zach Murphy with a 15:08, Scott Bryant with a 15:12, Larry Bell with a similar time, and Caleb Thompson with a 15.13, Anthony Rennick with a 15.18, and then a Brandon Mettler with a 15.20. So there we are going to be seeing some very close racing. Hopefully not a lot of cautions. I'm hoping to see a lot of green flag racing. So this will be a very, very quick event. So hold on to your butts, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be hopefully exciting to an extent that they're going to be quite close. We'll see who makes the first mistake. That is eventually what we're going to be waiting on. We're going to be seeing who makes the first mistake and whether or not that mistake costs them dearly. Because if you get stuck on the outside, you may get freight trained. All right. So as we're going to go to grid again, just to kind of put you for your grid, we're going to have starting off P1 is going to be Zach Murphy. Starting off P2 is going to be Scott Bryan. That takes care of your first row. Your second row is going to comprise of Larry Bell on the inside lane with Caleb Thompson on the outside. On row 3, you have Anthony Rennick and Brandon Mettler. And then rounding out is going to be Brian Zimmerman. So 50 laps and a field invert here. And we're finally going to begin our first pace car. Let's see if we have 1 or 2 to green. We'll find out. And Rennick are now finally off pit road, so we're going to be okay. It looks like lights are off on the pace car. We're going to see if this is actually one to go, or if it's... All right, so we're going to go one more, and then we're going to begin our foray and to turn left. Our pace car is in. And green flag, green flag, green flag. We're out. And we've got Zach Murphy going to be on the inside line. Somebody went way high. We've got Scott Bryant on the way high. Larry Bell's going to take the inside lane. Let's see if he continues and holds off Scott Bryant. He's looking for top 3. He's going to try and maintain and get his lead up for his championship run. So we're going to continue on. We're going to still have, so Scott Bryant pops in right behind Larry Bell. We have Anthony Rennick who's going to be right behind him. We also have Caleb Thomas, who's just stuck on the outside lane here. He's just unfortunate. We got Brian Zimmerman way in the back trying to push his way forward in front of Brandon Mettler. But we'll see if he can manage to make the outside work. Right now, we just got a freight train for the first 4 cars. So right here in the back is what we've got for action. We're going to follow these guys for a little bit, see what we can get as these guys are running nose to tail in the front. So as you can tell, you can see where this freight trains are just really hurting Caleb Thompson. He just cannot get on the inside. I know he's trying to look for any sort of gap, but I don't think there's not going to be one there for him. All right, so now we're continuing forward. It looks like still Caleb Johnson still stuck on the outside, and Brian Zimmerman just can't go anywhere. That's our points leader, and then we're just now starting to single file out here. And we're going to start seeing whether or not we can see any mistakes start forming. Caleb looks like he's just, like, when he comes under the outside lane, he just loses all sorts of traction. He's just stuck all the way to the outside, so he's just getting pushed. Effectively, he's going to end up being all the way to the back. He's going to have to find his way back to the front. All right, so we're going to ride here with Anthony Rennick. Let's see what we can get here. So it looks like he's trying to stick his nose in. Let's see if we can actually get in there. Oh, it's tight. He's got a little touch. Got him loose. Going to do a little bump and run. There he's down the inside of Scott Bryant. Looks like he should be able to complete the pass. Oh, tight. Oh, and it's stuck. And okay, if Scott Bryant can scoop back in, he's going to get stuck on the outside. He's going to get freight trained as well. So Brandon Mettler got onto his inside, so he's going to continue the freight train on from the outside. Says Brandon Mettler is going to get in. So Zimmerman's going to try and sneak his way in as well. But I don't know, like, there's just enough of a gap. Like, looks like Zimmerman catches the curve just a little bit. That should, there was a gap for Scott Bryant to sneak his way in. Looks like Scott's going to go all the way to the back as well. Let's see what we've got up near the front here. It looks like they're still pretty with a sizable lap here with Zach Murphy, Larry Bell. It looks like Brandon Mettler and Anthony Rennick are going right at it. We're almost on lap 13, still been great, which has been great. So Brandon Mettler is able to complete the pass here. Larry Bell and Zach Murphy have been able to run away with it here. Looks like Brian Zimmerman's going to start making his way to the front, and he's currently made up 2 positions. Unfortunately, the big loser here is Scott Bryant, who got freight trained all the way to the back. Rennick somehow ran wide. I might have missed his corner here. I'm not sure if he's either trying to dime or he just missed his corner, but it gave up a lot of ground to Mr. Zimmerman there. And Mettler is coming as well. He's coming with a nice head of steam. He's going to be underneath Larry in a hot minute. Let's go. Let's take his roll bar. Let's see it from his roll bar point of view, shall we? Oh, he's already to the outside of Larry Bell. He's already gone, so he's going to the front. Brandon Mettler is going to try and go and make his way for Zach Murphy. All right, now we've kind of settled down a little bit. We're on lap 15 of 50. Brandon Mettler is going to slowly start make some hay to work his way toward the front, but we've got people in the back also trying to get some positions past. Larry Bell is starting to fade a little bit. He's pushing a litling bit wide, so he's starting to get freight trained as well. Brian Zimmerman is working his way to the front and showing why he is currently P2 in the championship standings. Meanwhile, Zach Murphy is still continuing to maintain his lead, but slowly getting chipped away by Brandon Mettler. Let's take a look and see how these lap times are showing up here. So we're looking about 0.2 of a second here between Murphy and Mettler, but and let's see what their lap times are being as well. So it looks like not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, well, in any case, Rennick is starting to make time on Mettler. But between Murphy and Mettler, Murphy's starting to pull away ever so slightly. Just enough. So it looks like Mettler kind of got in for lap 15, 16, was able to pull in for about 1/10 each lap. And then just kind of overheated tires down and it's starting to come back in. So we're probably going to see another surge from Mettler within the next 5 to 6 laps. Let's see what Zach Murphy's up to from his roll bar, and we'll see what he's got for his dashboard. So he's kind of rolling the corner a little bit and run. So he's starting to run around. He's tend to hit about 95, 96 miles an hour at the end of each quote unquote straight here. And let's see what we've got for Brandon Mettler as well. He's trying to push hard. He's pushing. He's getting close to 99, 100 miles an hour at the end of these straights. So you can see how he's slowly starting to catch, but see how much of that's going to actually impact his tires and if he can actually pass Murphy, or if it's just going to be just a brick wall here and he's going to just turn into Ryan Newman here. But I don't know. I think he might get there, folks. I think he's going to get there. We're just going to stick with this right for the time being, because we may see if Zach Murphy makes a mistake, he's going to apply a lot of pressure and see if he's going to make a mistake. Oh, which he does. He gets loose off the corner. It almost gives him the spot, and Murphy gives him a little bit of space. Oh, he gave him the space. Good respect here between both drivers. He's going to get it. Let's see if he's going to fight back here for P2. No, he can't. He's going to just try and slot back in, but I don't know if he can or not. We got 23 laps to go in this heat. All right, so Zach Murphy's going to slot right back in. He's going to keep his P2. He's going to keep his points. He's going to keep rolling back, but we've got Anthony Rennick who's going to try and see if he can snipe a spot here and there. So we have Scott Bryant and Larry Bell who kind of walked to the back, kind of just got freight trained by these folks that managed to just get right underneath them. And that's racing at Oxford here, folks. So unfortunately, for this go round, this could also be a little bit of strategy being played as well. You got to keep that in mind because of the field invert. There's a lot to be said about, just keeping your car planted to the bottom and just making it hard to pass. So since it is quite hard to pass on the top here. So we are now reaching 20 to go. We're popping lap times at 15 seconds. So that's probably going to be within the next 5 minutes, provided no one wrecks. We should be good to go here. We got Brandon Mettler pulling away, and with Zach Murphy not quite under fire from anybody. So basically, we're just kind of holding fast right now. Not even the closest person that's having any sort of attack is going to be Caleb Thompson into Zimmerman, but even Larry Bell is going to get close. But Scott Bryant's just hanging in the back. Someone did get loose in the back. Who got loose? Looks like Anthony Rennick got loose and just. So we're gonna. But Bell gives Anthony Rennick the spot back, so it looks like I think Bell is playing the invert game here and trying to just stay in front of Scott Bryant for points and then play the invert game from there. We are basically gonna look like just ride all the way to the end. We've got Zach Murphy and Brandon Mettler. We've got a gap about a half a second between them. And just continuing forward, so we've got maybe half a second in half a second. I mean, it is pretty spaced out right now. We're going to kind of just ride to the very end here. So with 12 to go, we're going to see closest battle here. We're just going to stick with the closest battle for about a little bit as Anthony Rennick, and then looks like yeah, looks like we're just gonna. Looks like tires are actually starting to play a factor. You see these folks are starting to seeing these tire marks are being laid down in the asphalt here, so it may see something exciting with the last 10 laps to go. We'll find out. And we'll just move alongside here, so we're just kind of following the group. Everyone's just kind of taking it easy, just want to take their points and go from there. Let's take a look while we're waiting. Let's just go ahead and take a half a second gap between Murphy and Zimmerman. Third between Zach. Third, 0.3 of a second between Brandon Mettler and Zach Murphy. And Murphy is actually trying to catch. So I think he's going to do a late race charge. I think he may be able to see if he can sneak one in here and just kind of snipe P1 with a couple laps to go. Maybe we'll see even a little bump and run. We are actually seeing a little bit of that gap just being eaten around in here. I am slightly surprised here. Miller there, 0.003 of a second, just 300ths. I apologize. They're just taking away a little bit more, just slowly but surely coming around. I think and we got 5 laps to go, and that one's just about equal. So he's holding steady between Mettler and Murphy. We're just going to kind of hold these guys to the very end. Brian's going to pull it down pit road for the end of the race. And for now, we got 4 laps to go, and now Mettler's starting to increase his lead. I think he's might be conserving tire, or if he makes a mistake here with coming to 3 laps to go. So Murphy makes up what he lost in the previous lap. So we're still stuck right around 0.3 of a second of a gap. I don't know if Murphy can manage this gap. It'll be I don't think he can make it. 2 laps to go here. He's going to have to make some large gains, and then he's lost that little bit of gain. It looked like he touched the curb a little bit, so he's going to lose more out of that. So I think Mettler's going to kind of walk away with this one. So look, as he comes to the white flag here with 1 lap to go, brought to by Tripods in the Wild. As he comes around, he's going to do an entry turn 3. Looks like he's going to be nice, safe, and sound. Coming to the checkered flag, he's going to take P1 with P2 going to Zach Murphy. P2 with Zimmerman, Thompson, Rennick, Bell, and Bryant, who's going to be in the pits. So we'll have a field invert here in a quick second. You will be right back with a quick commercial break, but you won't miss anything, as we're going to go side by side, brought to you by Tripods in the Wild.
horsepower bar.
And we're going green flag finally here. We got Scott Bryant is going to be on the inside. We have Larry Bell on the outside here. We're going to see whether or not Larry Bell can actually make it. But he slides way to the outside, so he's going to get freight trained here. So you're going to have Anthony Rennick's going to be stuck on P2. Larry Bell is going to be still on the outside. We've got Brian Zimmerman on the inside. He's going to be P3, and he's going to try and fight his way in there. And also, Anthony Rennick managed to get his way to the front and got a right underneath Scott Bryant. Bryant slots right underneath. Zimmy's going to be a friend and not punt him out of the way, and he's going to continue going forward. Zim, he's trying to. He wants that slap, but he just can't. He's just going to make sure that he doesn't punt him out of the way here. All right, so Larry Bell goes toward the back, unfortunately, because he's just getting freight trained here. Brian is kind of leaving the door open for Zim, but does shut the door late, so I'm sure that it's a little bit frustrating for Zimmy, because he's just not getting any drive off whatsoever. But looks like Brian Zimmerman's going to be able to get inside of Scott Bryant. He's going to be able to continue going forward. He's going to take P2, and he's going to go ahead and set his sights forward for Anthony Rennick. We also have Brandon Mettler going to be setting to his inside. He's going to try to shoot his way to the inside. He's going to try and take P3, and which he does. We've got Caleb Thomas as well, just freight training these guys in the back. So he takes P4. Oh, we're going to have a wreck. It looks like we're going to have Caleb E. Thompson. He's going to be off the track, and he continues, and we're continue green. He's going to be stuck in the back, and he's going to have to make a lot of work to get back to the front. Looks like him and Murphy may have gotten back into it. So meanwhile, we're going to have Brian Zimmerman. He's just continuing going forward. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see whether or not Zimmy, from his cockpit point of view, he's just looking at Anthony Rennick. We're going to kind of sit in here and see what their lines are, see who's going to make a mistake or whether or not they're going to be running perfect. So with 40 laps to go, this will be very quickly, but Zimmy is really quick. Rennick hits the curb, but manages to keep it on the inside, but he's going to send it wide, and it just gives it an easy gap for Zimmerman to kind of take the inside lane and just take P1 again, showing why he's just ever so dominant in these series. He's continually just very patient and manages to just continue to take P1s. He just continue to win. Meanwhile, we've got Brandon Mettler who's going to be trying to do the same thing. He's going to be since Rennick is still running the outside lanes, he's going to try and hold on to the inside, and then he's just going to try and set his sights forward for Brian Zimmerman. They're going to try and duke it out for the win. From there behind them, we've got a gap of about 0.3 of a second to Scott Bryant, who's just trying his damage, just trying to get up there and try to recover from where he started, because he started P1, had a little bit of a bobble, got up to the outside, Zimmerman got underneath, and then just got freight trained and was able to slot back in. But now he's got to fight his way back to the front. And then you've got Larry Bell, who's also 0.3 behind, so about the same distance to Scott Bryant, and he himself is trying to make sure that he's keeping in touch with Scott Bryant, because this is for championship implications, because we are in the back half of the championship, folks, and every point matters for that third position. As mentioned previously, Scott Bryant and Larry Bell coming into the double headers were separated by a single point, so every point matters for these guys. Zimmerman is starting to bring up a little bit of a gap here to Anthony Rennick and Brandon Mettler, so we're going to see whether or not if Anthony Rennick is actually holding up Mettler, or if Zimmy is just that good and is just going to just waltz away from the field as we're coming close to halfway here. It looks like the big fight right now is going to be between second and third. We're going to see whether or not these guys can duke it out and see how close these guys get. We're going to take it from Anthony Rennick's gearbox here and see what is going to. So leaving the outside in, he kind of cuts his nose off late. So I'm sure it is a little bit of can be a little bit frustrating as a driver to do that when you're getting your nose cut off like that. But you know, a track like this, like I think Rennick is just holding up the pack here, and Meller's like, I need to go. If I need to get to Brian Zimmerman, I got to go now, and it looks like that's going to be the case. And these guys are still duking it out side by side. But and let's see if Anthony Rennick can make a comeback here. But this fighting is loud. Got Bryant and Larry Bell to catch back up. Meanwhile, Zimmerman continues to put on a gap to everyone while these guys are fighting. So, you know, for Zimmerman, this is what he wants to see. He wants to see these guys duking it out. He's just going to check right out. It'll be hard. Like, it's just going to be hard to catch these guys if Mettler's having to play defense all this time. Looks like Rennick tries to run a very wide diamond in here and try to power his way in, but it doesn't seem to work. It actually seemed to work against his favor. It doesn't get a good run off, and it looks like Mettler is able to put a little bit of a gap, and I think that will be the end of what she wrote for that story. So the next fight that's going to develop is going to be, we'll keep touch with those guys. We'll see if Mettler closes the gap. But what we're going to do right now is we're just going to kind of keep touch with the next fight, which is going to be the fight for P3, because it looks like Rennick is fading fast. He looks like his tires are a little bit warm and hot, so he's going to need to cool them off for a little bit. So we're going to kind of follow. We're going to kind of follow from Scott Bryant's nose and see whether or not what we can get here, and see if he's going to be right up Rennick's rear, or if he's just going to kind of chill, or see how hard he's actually running it. So we can see he seems to be pretty smooth. It doesn't seem to be too loose. Earlier he was driving it in kind of hard and had a little bit loose, like he just did right there. It's like had a little bit of a snap over steer moment. Kind of driving these corners hard. It's really hard to drive this course because there's not a lot of visual markers for you to use to kind of say, hey, this is where I need to brake, and use to just be consistent, because that's the biggest thing here, is it's being consistent, and there's not a lot of landmarks to do it in, because you're literally just turning in circles, and you're easy to get disoriented here, especially with as short as this track is. Continuing forward, we're going to looks like Brandon Mettler is ever so slowly eating away at that lead. Is now almost at 0.6 of a second. Meanwhile, we're looking at just a freight train of cars back here, starting with Anthony Rennick. But with that groove, it's just hard to pass. It's just you're gonna have to stick that nose in. You may have to move him to get him to move. So let's take a look at Mettler. Let's see let's see if we got his lap times here. Take a look at his lap times. So Mettler is gaining a little bit, ever so slightly, on Zimmerman, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't think he has enough time with tires, and Zimmerman was able to conserve. But if he can, it's just a matter of if. All right, let's do with that one. Look, yeah, it's going to require some hard driving from Mettler. Let's go into his cockpit and see what he's doing. And he's driving it in there, trying to. He could drive it in there a little bit deeper if he wanted to, but he's starting to slowly catch him. Zimmerman's running a higher lane. I'm not sure if he's running it to save his tires. And Mettler's trying to run a lower, more aggressive line, which may cost his tires, but I mean, Mettler's got to get there. If he wants a shot at the win, he's got to be super aggressive. So Mettler has grown out his lead. Mettler and Zimmerman have checked out to a 2-second lead over Rennick and Bryant. And it's a freight train, but oh, Miller touches the curb. That's gonna just undo all of the progress he just made getting close to Zimmerman. Like, so going back to what I said earlier, you have to be consistent, and if you need to go forward, and something like that literally could cost you the race, and that may very well have cost Mettler the race. Just with the amount of time that he lost 0.2 of a second in that one lap, and all that momentum is gone. So now he's have to make all that momentum back. He's gonna have to make all that time back up, and it took him 3-4 laps, and we're looking at now this is the third lap, and he's now going backwards. So his tires, I don't think he's got it. He's now losing time to Zimmerman, unless he's going and he's hitting the curb again. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one, folks. Looks like Zimmerman is gonna take this one. Meller might not be able to complete the sweep tonight. If Zimmerman might end up actually having to win the night and start next week again from the back. So next week it's tentatively Irwindale Outer. That may be that may be changed depending on what our swing is going to be. We may decide to go elsewhere. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, we have six more laps go. And it's, to be honest, it's just a clinic by Brian Zimmerman. It's a clinic in the back. The only thing we've got is we've got cars back here. They're looking like they're just trying to survive. Let's just kind of see what we've got for from Larry Bell's cockpit. He's trying to take the inside. We have Caleb Thompson taking really wide lines. I'm not sure if he's trying to get a better one on exit. And then we have Scott Bryant in the back as well. So kind of almost very similar stories playing out from the last 50-lap run. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we've come into 3 laps to go. And it'll be coming to 2 laps to go here shortly. And it looks like we're going to have kind of 2 classes of 2 leaders of the field. And then it's just it's a race, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a race. White flag with Crooked Line Racing and Tripods in the Wild, with Zimmerman in the lead with Mettler at P2, and I believe, provided that Zimmerman doesn't biff it, we're good. And it looks like he's gonna take P1 with Mettler P2. Anthony Rennick is going to take the last of the podium positions in P3, with Murphy P4, Thompson P5, Larry Bell P6, and Scott Bryant P6. So we're going to give it a minute. We're going to let Brian Zimmerman do his burnouts here. Let's see what we're... Oh yeah, that's right. We are going to have a impromptu... We're going to have an impromptu session. And he gets a long distance, and he hits the back end wall whistle where he's going to be there. So who's going to be next? Anthony Rennick. Who's next? Larry Bell is going to be P6. He's going to make his run. See if he can do his high jump here. He gets up. He's up. And he hits the embankment and is stuck. All right. Next up is going to be Zachary Murphy. He's going to make his high jump attempt here. Goes straight up. He's got a nice distance. He's going to hit the wall and then, just pancaked his car and then just gets stuck on his lid. Next up is going to be Anthony Rennick. He's going to make his attempt for his high jump. So far, everyone's kind of been about the same. All right, so he's up. He's going to be up, down. He gets a nice, but it looks like still hits the embankment. Larry Bell still. So far, the farthest is Larry Bell. We've got Brandon Mettler. He's going to go for it. He's going to go up and out. It doesn't get as much much height. Well, it's it's not the height and it's not the length. It's I guess it's something. Larry Bell gets the twirl. He gets up and over, and he actually makes the pit. So it looks like Brian Zimmerman is the winner for tonight, and he also happens to be the winner of our high jump competition. So congratulations to Brian Zimmerman for being our winner tonight. So in 1 second, we're gonna go ahead and start interviewing our podium finishers. We're gonna bring up Anthony Rennick here in a second. Hey, Anthony, this is Alex in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Hey, so how was the race? Like, looked like it was kind of single groove. And if you got out of the groove, it was hard to run. That kind of what you had to deal with tonight? All right. Uh, so did you have any strategy going into the invert, or was it just kind of just take as many points as you can get on both races? All right. Okay. Is there anybody you want to thank for tonight? All right. All right, Anthony. Have a good one. All right. Now we've got our P2 finisher, Brandon Metler. You got a copy. So you finished P1 in the first race. You kind of run through the field, and then on the invert, yeah, kind of have to do the same. What was your secret there, bud? Yeah, keying in on what you just said there is like, and we noticed toward the very end on the second race, it looked like you kind of tabbed the curbs a little bit. You got as close as about a half second to Zim, and then once you clipped the curb, it kind of spelled the end. You just ran out of time and kind of lost all that momentum that you had. Yeah. Oh yeah, perfect. Did you want to think of anybody or thank your sponsors or anything? All right. Well, congratulations on your P1, your P2, Brand Metler, and we'll hopefully see you again next week because we love seeing you guys running the races here. And finally, we're gonna have our last but not least, Mr. Brian Zimmerman Mr. Brian Zimmerman finished P1 yet again. We should just call this the Zimmerman waiting room eventually. Congratulations on your win yet again. You're going to have to start from the back again. You did win the jump. You did win the jump. You were the only one that managed to make his way to the road and outside the. Right, yeah, I actually kind of mentioned that earlier. It's like sometimes having a lot less people racing is actually kind of nicer because you can kind of get into a rhythm, and you guys can kind of I know you guys can put on a good race. Um, Speaking of, on the second race, looked like right at the beginning you were kind of when you're going in between you and Rennick, looked like you were trying to be patient and looked like that worked out in the end. But looked like you were really trying really hard not to put a bumper to him and. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there was just one little I don't know, sorry, skirmish. I think someone clipped the curb and just got a little loose, but to keep it going straight and it was fine. So that being said, is there sponsors you want to thank tonight? All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. We'll probably see you again next week. You're going to be signed from the back yet again. We'll see where we're going to end up being. So, but in either case, we'll probably see you march your way to the front, and I'll be expecting you back here in what's going to slowly start being called the Zimmerman waiting room. Yep, no problem. Have a good one. All right, so that was Brian Zimmerman, and who finished P1 tonight, so he'll be ending up starting from the back on our next race. But thank you for everyone who showed up tonight watching the Oxford Twin 50s. Thank you for spending your time here. Again, next week we don't to potentially we'll be doing Irwindale Outer. That may change, but thank you to Tripods in the Wild for sponsoring the league. Also, Tanner Marr and Crooked Line Racing for maintaining the league and keeping all this stuff, making it together. My name's Alex Harris, and for True Sims Productions, thank you for spending your time again, and we will see you till next time.